Good morning. There you go. And welcome. My name is Carol Brody Fleet, and I'm the founder and CEO of Widows Wear Stilettos. And it is my, thank you. The noisy ones are members of Widows Wear Stilettos. And it is my distinct privilege to introduce your keynote speaker this morning. August 31st, 2005, started out like any other busy day in the Hernandez household, but it wouldn't end like any other day. Because by the evening of August 31st, 2005, Michelle Neff Hernandez was a widow. Earlier that day, Michelle's husband, Phil, an avid runner and an expert bicyclist, told Michelle that he was going to go out on his usual bike ride. He kissed her goodbye, and he left. While on his ride, Phil was killed by an inattentive driver behind the wheel of an SUV, leaving Michelle a 35-year-old widow with 3 children. And the only widowed people she knew were her grandfather and her great-aunt. There was no one in her peer group for her to talk to, and I know that many of you can relate to that. And nobody could possibly understand what she was going through. It would have been so easy for Michelle to turn inward with her grief, but that's not how the girl rolls. Seeing that there was an obvious need in the widowed community, Michelle did something else instead. Michelle founded the Soaring Spirits Lost Foundation in 2008 to serve the widowed community in ways that have never been done before. Among their many accomplishments, Soaring Spirits literally revolutionized grief recovery with their unique Widow Match program. Is anybody here a member of Widow Match? Have a Widow Match buddy? Isn't that phenomenal? Think about the friendships that you would not have without Widow Match. I know that a lot of you are here for the first time, and that's really, really exciting because you are at the one, the only, the original Camp Widow. There is no other event like this in the United States, where all widowed, regardless of age or gender or sexual orientation or technical marital status, are welcome in this community. Yes, you can applaud that. You can applaud that. People like us can gather for a weekend of inspiration, motivation, education, and even fun and laughter in an environment where people will always empathize and never criticize. You can applaud that too. Michelle and Soaring Spirits have since expanded their programs to include concerns of the widowed around the world. And this past year, they have introduced the Widowed Village. How many of you are Widowed Village members? This is a unique online community. If you're not familiar with it, you got to get to the Village. You'll find resources and blogs. There's even a live chat room. And I know that there's a lot of villagers here today as well. Michelle is also a vital part of the Share the Road program, and she spearheads the annual Philip Hernandez Memorial Bike Ride in honor of Phil, and to continually raise awareness of the importance of sharing the road safely. Soaring Spirits' ongoing fundraising efforts are phenomenal. Events such as the annual Widows Rock fundraisers that take place in major cities all over the U.S., the Share the Road bike ride, as well as the Widows Rock store, which I saw a lot of you shopping at. I saw you guys shopping. They all serve to benefit the foundation. And the foundation, in turn, aids those who want to be a camp widow but might not be able to afford to do so on their own. Michelle has appeared on television and radio programs, including The Mike Huckabee Show, several different programs on NPR, and she's appeared in dozens of publications, including USA Today, the Associated Press, and the Ventura Star. And I'm so proud of this. For her incredible service to the widowed community, Michelle has been honored with the Embrace Life Award by State Farm Insurance Companies and the Humanitarian of the Year Award given by the city of Simi Valley here in California. So proud. All of us at Widows Wear Stilettos are extremely proud and honored to be associated with this wonderful woman and everyone at the Soaring Spirits Lost Foundation. From Simi Valley, California, please help me welcome founder and executive director of the Soaring Spirits Lost Foundation, Michelle Neff Hernandez.
Go get him, Tyler. Wow. If you want to start out your morning really great, I highly recommend you find somebody who really likes you and then introduce you to a large group of people. It's really a great way to start the day. I am so happy to see all of you. I'm going to try not to fall off the stage. I wander. So if you see me go down, I'll be right back. It's just amazing to see all of your faces. And if you've heard me at all yesterday, you heard me say over and over again, if you throw a really great party and nobody comes, it's not much of a party. And nobody thinks that, I bet when you said, hey, okay, I'll see you on Monday, I'm going to Camp Widow. They thought, oh, that's a party. I'm sure that's okay, you have fun with that. I hope it's really good. And so the fact that it actually really is good and that we aren't going to tell them it really is a party is pretty amazing. So I thank you so much for being willing to come, because I know that we came from all over 43 different states. Where's my Canadians? We have a large Canadian contingent. There you are. Actually, if you're Canadian, I'm going to ask you to stand up, because there is a Canadian woman here who didn't know there were any other Canadians. Please, would you? If you're Canadian, please stand up. Nikki, there they are. We have one person here from the UK who we love, and because we already had the Canadians stand up, we can't leave out the English. Where are you? There she is. What's incredible to me about that is that you came on planes and trains and automobiles and buses. And why did you come? You came because you were seeking community. And the power of community is absolutely incredible. And the thing is, we've all been a part of other communities, right? You know, all across the times of your life. How many communities have you been a part of? Tons. I've been involved in tons of communities. And you know, there's some where you go, oh God, do I have to go? Honestly, I mean, I love the PTA, but I had a really hard time in PTA because there were some mean ladies there. And it's a great organization. I have never, ever been a part of a community like the widowed community. Why? Because nobody wants to join. Hello. Somebody made us get here. It wasn't our own. Thank you very much. And how many communities have been a part of where you'd go like, hey, if we could turn back time, I'm getting rid of all of you. And yet, what do we have here? I have never been, when I meet a widowed person, every single time, without exception, the connection is incredible. And it doesn't take, what does it take, 30 seconds? Does it take past the, how did your spouse die? Oh, you weren't married? Oh, well, how was that? There's no skip. You just go straight to, hi, okay, we got something to talk about, friend. You guys were all talking last night. Amazing. I actually walked in the room and went, oh gosh, it's loud. I hope this is okay for everyone. But why? Because we have so much to share. And it's incredible to me what that looks like. What I want to talk to you about today is the fact that widowhood doesn't have a voice. Now, there's lots of things where you'd go, yeah, well, you know, not everyone has one voice. Clearly, there's tons of us. We all have our own voice. But I'll tell you what happened. You know, Carol's amazing. So she started with, of course, August 31st, 2005. August 31st, 2005, I lost my voice. And as I was thinking about what that was like, I was thinking, you know how we all say, how long has it been? 6 months? 18 months? 23 months? Do you feel like a toddler? And that started getting me thinking about this idea that We actually didn't have a choice about being born, right? So you're born. Nobody asked you, would you like to be born? Out you come. And we come into the world, okay, I'm going to say this. We come into the world sort of with a wail, right? You don't know because you weren't giving birth, but anybody who has given birth, you can see where I'm going with this. And there's silent births even, right? People actually do that. I don't know how, partly because I can't keep my mouth shut, but there is such a thing as a silent birth. But at any point, whatever time that was, when you were born, there was a sound or a silence, and perhaps the silence spoke volumes. And then you go through your life and you learn what your voice is. What's your unique voice? Do you remember being, preteen, having to go to middle school? Eek. I don't really want to go back there. You had to learn, what is my voice? And you look around you and you go, what's your voice? Okay, what's your voice? Ooh, wait, yours is cracking. I think I won't go over there. Wait, mine's cracking too. You go through these stages of finding your voice. Then you come into your young adulthood. And you think you have your voice. And you think your parents don't know what they're talking about. And as you grow into an adult, you learn more and more that your parents were smarter than you thought. I have high hopes that my teenagers are one day going to think I'm brilliant. That took a long time, right? To find who you were. To come to a place where you say to yourself, I feel confident with this voice. When you hear it have you ever heard your voice on a recording? I don't watch back my recordings, ever, if I can avoid it. Because it just weirds me out. But you hear your voice and you go, is that what I sound like? Oh, cool. I guess that's my recorded voice. Wow. You hear yourself and you think, wow, is that me? I guess so. So then you, again, come to an iteration of who am I and what do I sound like and what's my place in the world? What's my voice? You become a married person and you have to alter your voice a little. You got to blend, and suddenly you have a voice. You certainly have individual voices, but you also have a voice together. Together you have a voice. And you say to yourself, I could speak for my spouse because I know what they would say. In this situation, in that situation. I imagine sometimes you go, wait a minute, I didn't say that, and so now we have some clashing voices. But we had one voice. And then we're widowed. And it occurred to me that that's a rebirth. Again, we didn't ask for it. Again, we probably came into this voice with a wail. I remember really clearly, and I'll try to say this without crying. Wish me luck. I remember really clearly, we had gone through a couple of days. We had a viewing for Phil, and I had felt like I'd already seen him. And so I probably didn't need to see him again, and there was a long list of other people who really still needed to see him. And we were going to do an organ donation. And so we had 24 hours. So within 24 hours, anybody who wanted to see him was going to need to get that done. And I remember thinking, okay, I want to give the kids a chance, I want to make sure that his kids have some time to be with him. So I waited, his mom, his brothers, his aunts and uncles, there was a huge number of people. So I'm sitting in a room and we're done. And they're like, okay, we really got to go. We have to go. And I walked past the room and all I saw was his hair. And I couldn't pass him. I couldn't pass him without going in. And the wail that came out after that was like nothing I've ever heard. And I remember going, who is that? Who is that person? Because that is not me. I don't know who that screaming person is. I don't recognize her. And I was reborn then. And I had to find a new voice. That wail left me so sore in the throat, I couldn't speak. And I feel like that not being able to speak lasted for a good long time. And then when I did speak, I was like, who the heck is that? Because I was used to a unified voice. And I couldn't hear the timbre of my own voice when it was just me. It wasn't us. And then I'm still thinking, okay, and here we go, right? Through the stages of toddlerhood. I'm 4 months old. I'm 6 months old. I'm a year old. What did you know when you were a year old?